Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Calling All Creatures. As you know, if you listen in all the time, I am your host, Laurie, and today I am going to be speaking with Jackie Ducci. Is that correct, Jackie?
That's correct. You got it.
And she is the founder of Human Animal Alliance, and she also just made a documentary called The Unspoken Bond. And so Jackie was nice enough to come on my podcast and tell us more about her organization and the documentary that she made. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about this because most of us already know pets and animals are very important in a lot of our lives. So, Jackie, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad you could join me.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
So, why don't we just kind of start out with you telling us a little bit about what led you to found the Human Animal Alliance and what your mission is?
Sure. So I have been a huge animal person from the time that I was a very small child, and I have found that animals have helped me through some of the hardest times that I have been through. And so somewhere along the way, I started thinking it would be really great to bring that same human-animal bond to other people, and how can I do that? So yeah, our mission is to support other programs around the country that have the human-animal bond central to their missions. So things like animal-assisted therapy programs, programs that keep people and pets together. We help with rescue and reunification efforts after natural disasters, all kinds of things to just strengthen that human-animal bond in people's lives.
Awesome. That's a good mission.
It is. Well, and it's fun, too, because, you know, when I started looking into what type of organization I wanted to create, I just said there's so many therapy programs, so many rescues, and that's amazing, but I felt like there's nobody out there quite focused on the bond in the way that we are, so it's a little different than anything else that's out there, which I love.
Good. Well, it's always nice to have something unique that you can relate to, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So can you tell us a little bit about your own journey and the animals that kind of helped shape your life?
Sure. I had wonderful parents growing up who were also animal people. So we always had a house full of dogs and cats, and I was exposed to that very young. But somewhere around the age of 5 was when I really became intrigued by horses. And so I started riding very young, and horses I still ride all these years later. They've been a part of my life ever since. And while I've loved all my animals, the horses in particular really have had an impact on me. There's just something about them. And when I was young, I was pretty introverted and struggled in school sometimes because of that, struggled socially. And there was this pressure on me all the time to sort of be more of an extrovert, which was not an easy thing, like if you're not wired that way naturally. Yeah. And the horses really helped me understand that how good of a person you are is what matters. It's not about the certain characteristics that we have. So I was able to create these incredible bonds with them that were unspoken, right? They were silent. And I think as a small kid, being able to connect with a being that's so big and so powerful just because you're bringing the right energy and you're a good person was a really big life lesson for me. And I often say, like, I believe they saved my self-esteem when I was young. They really taught me my value as a person, which was profound. And yeah, I mean, I've always continued to appreciate them, and I see the amazing things they do for other people. So yeah, they're just very special.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I've always had an affinity with horses, although I've never owned one or had any. And I mean, I had friends, we've been riding, things like that. But I've always loved them. And I'm a big dog person. I have dogs and stuff like that. But yeah, horses have always been a big thing for me, I guess, in my life as well. I understand the introvert part because, believe it or not, even though I do a podcast and I talk to all you different people, I am quite an introvert. I don't like to meet new people really, you know, into person and stuff like that a whole lot. But and it's funny, I do dog training too, so I guess I've put myself out there kind of like you and learned to be a little bit more of an extrovert. But yeah, it is hard, especially when, you know, and self-esteem is a big thing, especially when you're young.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting too. I think people sometimes don't understand exactly what it is to be introverted. Like, our batteries just get drained more easily, right? So even as a kid, I found that happening a lot. Like, why am I just getting so tired from social interaction, you know? But I think that was part of why I gravitated to the animals and why so many people do.
Yeah.
Because when we're with them, it's like you don't have to perform. You can just be who you are. There's no expectation. It was like a recharge for me. It always has been, being around animals, whereas with people, I love my people, but like I can only do so much, you know? And
Right.
I don't think it's an uncommon experience, but it's something that is tough to talk about.
Yep, exactly. So how would you define the human-animal bond and why you think it's as powerful as it is?
Well, I mean, I guess the technical definition is that it's a bond that benefits both parties, right? So the animal benefits the human and the human benefits the animal. And I do think that that's very true. I think that it's interesting that science has not, in my opinion, caught up. I mean, we've barely scraped the surface in terms of really understanding it, even though there are some good studies out there. But, I mean, I know it's powerful because I've lived it and I've seen it. I mean, one of the things that really struck me right away after starting the philanthropic work was just hearing the feedback from some of these animal-assisted therapy programs, people who had been through the programs. And I can't tell you how many times over the years I've heard people say, you know, I was struggling, I was in traditional therapy, or my child was in traditional therapy, and then when we discovered equine-assisted therapy or any kind of animal-assisted therapy, all of a sudden there's a breakthrough that happens. And it's anecdotal, but it's real. You know, I don't know how anybody can hear that over and over and not understand that there's something to it. Right. So I think maybe the definition is a little different for everyone, but the power there is undeniable because there are people everywhere that experience it and feel it.
Well, right. I mean, if you just stop and just take a small look at a certain group like the military veterans and stuff that have, you know, PTSD or traumatic brain injuries. And, you know, that's when I train service dogs and therapy dogs for them. So that's something, it's amazing as you're going through this training process to have a person who literally didn't want to even come out of their home to even go grocery shopping because they couldn't handle being around, you know, people and stuff like that. And we're always on the lookout thinking something bad was going to happen, to be able to now have this bond with their dog and know that their dog literally has their back as well as them having their dog's back. And now they're able to go out in public and interact more, and their dogs help them through all of that. So it's huge when you get to see how that progresses through the training.
It's amazing. You know, and the other thing as we're talking that I'm thinking is, it's amazing how the human-animal bond, we don't just feel connection to the animal, it can also help us feel connection to other people. You know, in the example that you just gave, that person now, because of their dog, is out in the world more, they're talking to other people more. Like, that's something that I see a lot, too. It's like that relationship with the animal just opens up human-to-human connection on a deeper level, and that's really powerful, too.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, one of my teams, the gentleman, he really has had a lot of trouble, you know, being out and talking. And we were working, because we have to take the dogs through different, you know, scenarios in different stores and stuff. And so we're working in the pet store, and we're standing there in line, and the gentleman behind him literally started to talk to him a little bit because, you know, he has his dog, and he kind of opened up and started talking back. And they were both actually ended up being from military, but so it was kind of cool to see him be able to, you know, hold that conversation and just, you know, like being out in regular public that a lot of us take for granted. So
yeah, absolutely, very common experience, I think, which is a beautiful thing.
Yep. So I mentioned at the beginning that you did a documentary, and it's called Unspoken Bond. So what inspired you to create your documentary, and what are you kind of hoping audience will take away from it?
I'm so excited about this one. So I wanted to get involved in something in addition to the philanthropy, like I just started thinking, how can I be more of a voice and just raise awareness kind of out in the world for how important the human-animal bond is. And so one day I had this crazy idea that a documentary film would be a great way to do that. Full disclosure, I previously had no background in filmmaking, and so it was kind of just this crazy idea. But as fate would have it, I met a gentleman named Don Hardy from California who is a documentary filmmaker. And we got talking, and he's also a big animal person and a rescue advocate. So we hit it off. He felt that the idea that I had for the film had legs. And so together we produced it, and we're so proud of it. And it's a series of 3 stories of people whose lives have been completely transformed or saved because of their relationship with animals. So it's very emotional. It's very powerful. We have also woven in a little bit of expert testimony from some people who are experts in the field. So, yeah, we're very proud of it. And as far as what I want people to take away from it, I want it to be validating for those of us that already know how powerful the bond is. And then for people that maybe don't get it or haven't had a chance to experience it, I think the film will be powerful for them too. Because if somebody watches it and they say, oh, animals aren't really my thing, which is still hard for me to understand, but I know some people feel that way. You know, you can't watch it and not deny that there's something there, and maybe have more appreciation for people who have had an experience where animals have changed their life. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just want to open some minds, open some hearts, validate those of us who already know that it's real, and we're very excited for the film to get out in the world.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see it, so I'm waiting for it to come out, so I'll have to watch it. But would you say that any one of those 3 stories in the documentary had anything about them that kind of surprised or maybe deeply moved you while you were doing the filming of them?
You know, I wouldn't say surprised, so my job was the casting process. So I knew everybody that we put in the film. I was familiar with their stories. But what did really blow me away was spending so much time with everyone really going deep on their stories. You know, I was familiar with them, but when you really sit for hours and go through all the emotions, the roller coaster with them as they're being interviewed, it was just so validating, even for me, you know, who has been a believer in the human-animal bond forever. Really, it was just incredible to listen to them and just sit there and be like, yes, this is so, so real. You know, it was a really beautiful thing, and it was a very connecting experience for everybody that was involved in the film.
Well, like I said, I can't wait to see it because I think it's going to be interesting to hear their stories and see, you know, the endings and stuff and how it all came out for them. So I think it's going to be really, really good. So.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and we were intentional about, you know, we chose different people with different life experience, different types of animals. There's a horse story, a dog story, and then actually one about foxes.
Oh, cool.
So a really nice variety there. Yeah. So yeah, we're very proud of it. I'm very excited.
So your film is highlighting, of course, the healing power of animals. So do you happen to know what current research tells us about the benefits of these types of relationships?
I mean, there are some studies out there, you know, they lower blood pressure, they lower cholesterol, yep. They help. One of the really interesting things that I would like to learn more about is the impact that human-animal bond has on neurotransmitters. I'm hearing that's something that's starting to be looked at. Like, there are actually people who believe that the impact that the animal has on the human can affect the dopamine and, what's the other one? Dopamine and... I don't remember off the top of my head, but essentially these are the same things that like antidepressants affect in the body. So again, I think science really has just scraped the surface, but there's so much there. I mean, if we could prove that that's true, right, that it's affecting our neurotransmitters to that extent, that is a massive discovery.
Right.
So, yeah.
I'm actually surprised it's taken them this long to really kind of look at that because, I mean... if you really stop and think about it, or watch people, if they're upset or sad and they have a pet, dog, cat, bird, horse, whatever it may be, they go to that animal and they pet them and they talk with them and whatever, maybe bury their face in their fur, whatever they may do.
Yeah.
And it always seems to make them feel better. So, I mean, I would think that would be kind of affecting like those dopamine levels and other levels, and like that, the neurotransmitters.
Absolutely. Cortisol, too, is another big one. I know there are studies on that. So if animals are able to lower cortisol levels, of course, that's going to feel like it's going to make you feel stress relief, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's really fascinating.
Well, and again, I mean, going back to the service dog thing, that's what these dogs are being trained to do is out in the public with their owners, is to help reduce that stress and anxiety that they're having. And literally these guys will reach down and will either have the dog trained, they'll put weight on them in certain spots that are conducive. I mean, it doesn't even have to be certain spots. They can just put their paw and stand on their foot or sit on their foot. It's basically the same thing, and then that person is petting their dog, and the anxiety levels and the stress comes down, I'm not going to say immediately, but it comes down because of that action and what they're doing. So,
well, and you think about, what are we all supposed to do when we're feeling panicky, right? It's about grounding yourself. It's about the five senses. This is something that having an animal with you can help bring you to. Like, they're incredibly grounding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
Feeling the fur, feeling the presence. I mean, they're just incredible.
I got to tell you a funny story. So I was working with a team, and her dog came over and was trying to sit on my foot or put his paw on my foot or something, and I was kind of laughing, and she's like, "Oh, are you a little stressed or something? A little upset about something today?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really think I am." She goes, "Well, he's trying to give you some pressure to try to, yeah." So I guess maybe I was feeling a little stressed or something, and he picked up on it, and he come over and was trying to give me some pressure therapy to help to ground me a little bit more, I guess. So
yeah, it's incredible how they just sense things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. What animals can do are so amazing. Some people just don't really realize, and I understand what you mean. There are people out there, I'm not an animal person, or a dog is a dog, or whatever, and it's like, no, that's not how this goes.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So my next question is, how do you think animals are helping veterans, children, and trauma survivors in ways that traditional approaches sometimes can't? But we've talked already a little bit about how animals can help our veterans and stuff, but how do you think it kind of, they help with the children and trauma survivors and stuff like that? I mean, again, leaning back towards the helping with the anxiety and stress and stuff, but.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think different people might answer this differently, but my personal opinion is that I think animals are different because with them, there is no agenda, there's no baggage. Like, they just come to us in a place that is so pure. And so it's easier to connect with them and trust, I think, because human-to-human relationships can be complicated, even if we don't intend them to be. We all have our stuff that we bring to different interactions. And I think in a therapeutic setting, it's easier for a kid to open up in the presence of a horse or a dog or whatever, as opposed to sitting on a couch just talking to a person that they don't know very well. That the presence of the animal opens something up. And I believe that that's why. They're a blank slate, and they're so pure.
Yeah. I think they don't give judgment. They don't pass any kind of judgment on you. In a lot of cases, I mean, especially like the children and maybe some of the trauma survivors, especially if they have to go in to, say, testify against the person that created the trauma to them.
Yep.
And they're using dogs in the courtrooms and stuff like that now for children to be able to testify, and because it helps them feel safer to have that dog there. They can reach down, they can pet that dog and know that that dog is there and it's not going to go away, and it helps them to be able to testify and face the person that did this stuff to them. So
yeah, 100%. Even some of the doctors' offices or dentist offices, have you seen those now where there's like the office dog, And I always think, oh, if I have to go get dental work done, that would be wonderful. Like, have a dog sitting with me, I will be much more relaxed. So in any setting, they can really help bring that anxiety down.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I think I wouldn't mind getting dental work done. I guess if I had a dog sitting next to me, I could pat, but...
Right? Agreed.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that one yet, but that's amazing that they're doing that. So, as we've kind of discussed, many people think of pets simply. Well, I guess some people think of them as just like the animal, the dog, or whatever. Some think of them as simply companions for them. How does your human-animal alliance encourage people to see them differently?
Because we're so focused on that bond and often the therapeutic benefits of that bond, I think realizing that these relationships actually change lives, like you just can't deny how deep and real it is. And it's interesting with pets because I feel like deep connections with our pets is something that many of us have experienced, but we don't necessarily talk about it that much. Maybe it's a little taboo to talk about it, to say, hey, I'm as deeply emotionally connected to my dog as other members of my family, but that is something that so many of us know to be true, and it's okay for that to be true. So I think that is something that I would love to see in this world, is for people to just be more open about leaning into what these bonds are. And so I think through the Human-Animal Alliance, by us highlighting how people's lives are truly changed or saved through those relationships, how can you see that and then not appreciate, I guess, even if you haven't had that experience yourself?
True. That is true. So as I was kind of looking over, I guess I should probably go back because talk about the Unspoken Bond a little bit more again. Did creating the Unspoken Bond documentary change the way that you view the relationship between human and animals at all? And if so, how?
I don't know that it changed it, but again, I think it was so reassuring for me that the message is important and the power of the bond is so real. Again, like sitting for hours and hours and hours with everybody and really going deep on their stories, it just came out so beautifully. And I don't know, for me, having been someone who has appreciated this bond from the time I was born, essentially, I think maybe there was a part of me for a long time that wondered, does anybody else feel this like as deeply as I feel this? And this is why the film is important, because these stories are everywhere of people who really get it, who really are living it, and the awareness is so important. So really, that's why the film was created, and I hope that it will change other people's views. Like I mentioned earlier, like people who just maybe don't get it on the level that you and I do.
Right. Well, hopefully.
I think it will do that.
Yeah, we can always hope, We can always hope, because I know there's some out there that probably need to change their views.
Perhaps. And, I try to be understanding about it because I understand that not everything in this world is for everyone, and we need to respect that. But I do think sometimes people don't understand it just because they've never had exposure. Right. I'm just thinking as we're talking, there's a nonprofit in Philadelphia that we've supported that uses goats to help inner city kids learn leadership skills and life skills and different things. And it's just so fascinating. But when I went and visited, one of the things that all the kids talked about was that this is the one time period in their week when they go for their sessions that they actually interact with nature. Like, these kids are growing up in the inner city. They don't have animals. They don't even have anything green to look at. And there's something really amazing when you step out of that urban jungle, and you get to spend time with animals and in nature.
Right.
It just unlocks something that's so productive. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I guess probably never, a lot of people don't even really think about that fact, that these kids growing up in these big cities, unless their parents take them or they get a pet or something, they don't really experience nature and animals as much as others do. So,
right. Yeah. And they're missing out. But again, it's like, if you've never been exposed to it, well, then how would you know what the human-animal bond is and how it can help you unless you've had that exposure? So I love programs like that are, from a young age, exposing people to what it can do for them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's tremendous that they are getting that opportunity. So it's good that there's organizations out there that do that stuff. Yeah,
there are so many amazing programs.
Yeah, I know. There's one here out in not far from where I live. It's called CANTOR, the acronym, and they're using horses to work with disabled kids and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Like that. Yeah, it's really cool. I had Gail, the president, on the podcast a while back, and I actually, since they are right here where I live, I got to go out and do a tour and see the facility and what they're doing out there, and it's amazing, the stuff that they do out there with these kids. Some kids actually came out while I was there, and they have a lot of volunteers and stuff. The volunteers come out, they take care of their horses. It's volunteer educators, I guess you might say, and they do all sorts of different things with these kids and these horses. So some of the kids, and even if they're in wheelchairs, they have special saddles and stuff made, and these kids are able to get on a horse and ride and just be with that animal. And then they have children that are just out there, they'll have like long reins and stuff, so they're kind of walking behind the animal and helping to guide a little bit. But these ones may not be the ones that can ride or want to be on a horse riding, but they just are teaching them all sorts of different things using the horses and helping to bring them out of their shells and give them these opportunities that they wouldn't normally have. So really great organization.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a great organization. I'm so glad they're doing all that stuff. So
I think there's something too about being in the presence of a horse, because they're just so big. It's almost like they lend you their power. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
And these guys here, the horses that they have in the program have to meet certain criteria. They have to be able to, be able to deal with, because you never know when some of these disabled kids might have an outburst or have something go wrong and have a bad, things like that. So, I mean, there's different criteria the horses have to meet in order to become a part of the program and fit. But the horses that I met out there, they were so great. It was so great to go out and see some of them and learn some of the backstories and stuff on them and where they came from. And they're actually trying to do a leasing program, I think, for people, that may have some horses, but maybe they're kind of having a hard time. If they think their horse might fit, they're willing to take them into the program and use them to help assist with their kids and stuff. And they even have I think they started a silver saddles for the seniors as well, too. So so they do all sorts of stuff like that. So it's really cool. So.
That's great. And it is hard to find horses that are suitable for those programs because they have to be bomb-proof.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, very mellow, bomb-proof. I mean, yeah, there's she, because I have, a few horse friends and stuff like that out here and horse rescues I know of. So she actually sent me the application or criterias and stuff that they have for people that might be interested in leasing their horse for this. And I was reading through it and I was like, geez, there is so much in there that these horses, they have to be able to do and like you said, be bomb-proof basically. So, but you know what? If you have a horse like that, it's amazing if you can help out with that program and with these kids and stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, and I did see too, and because I was looking at your website and stuff, that you also help to support different organizations that help preserve and strengthen the human-animal bond, and you guys give out they can apply for grants and stuff like that from you.
Correct. Yep, exactly. Yeah, we are a grant-making organization, so we raise money to support existing nonprofits around the country.
And that's awesome. So how do you decide which programs or initiatives that you're going to support?
Well, first and foremost, the human-animal bond must be central to their programming and their mission. And any organization that meets that criteria is welcome to apply. We are only doing grants within the United States right now. We don't do anything international, and organizations have to have been in existence for at least 2 years. But from there, we get so many amazing applications, but we really vet these programs thoroughly. We like to support, I would say, mid-sized programs, generally speaking, that are doing amazing things, but maybe the general public is not super familiar with. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I found right off the bat was like, wow, there are so many great programs, but, they're operating on lean budgets. They may not be doing a lot of marketing. Like, I may not have heard of them before unless they applied. So really getting to know them and seeking them out is part of the fun of what we do. And then, directing that funding to programs that are doing an amazing job.
And that's awesome. And I'll be honest, I'm going to tell Gail from Cantor about your organization and see if her grant writer would try to apply. Because, we're always looking for great programs. Yeah, and her organization, just from what you just said, I think would fit your criteria very well because they're kind of out there, countryside, and a lot of people, I don't know how many people, the schools, obviously, because the schools are the ones that are usually bringing in the kids, the disabled kids and stuff during school season. Of course, they still have classes during the summer. But, so, not a lot of people know about them out there, and I don't know how much marketing they do. They try to do a little bit here and there, but they're so busy trying to do their classes, and right now they were just able to get a grant from our electric company out here because where they're at's really windy, and so they have to keep canceling classes because they're afraid with the high winds that they can get out there, it can knock children off the horses. So,
oh my gosh!
Well, yeah, wow. We get some pretty big winds out here sometimes, especially if you're in an open area, and then you have a disabled child on top of a horse. That might not be good. So they've had to cancel classes here and there because of winds and stuff like that. And of course, monsoons and rains. But they were able to get a grant to actually build an indoor arena. So I'm thinking they're starting on getting that done. They're still trying to raise money. I think they're trying to come up with money to do the electricity and stuff out there. But like I was talking to Gail about, I said if we could do something to help you raise some money for, like, say, vet expenses for the horses or the feed and stuff like that, you might be able to divert other monies towards your electricity and stuff. So I've been kind of in the background working on trying to, because I'm with the Lions Club here, and I'm trying to work on something to maybe do a little fundraiser for them if possible. But I'm definitely going to tell them to apply with you because I think the criteria for what you told me is good for them. So.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to learn more about them. And, another thing we're really proud of is that we always do site visits for every organization that we even consider giving funding to because we need to know, the animals are happy and being treated well. And, it's like something can look one way on paper and then it's completely different when you're in person. So we are very diligent about vetting all of the organizations. And I think that's something our donors really appreciate as well.
Yeah. Yep, because I understand completely. I mean, look at how many rescue groups out there may look good on paper, but they're not, really. I mean, So that's awesome that you guys go and vet. And I know if they apply and you go with them, I'm sure they would not mind having you come visit. So
It's fun. It's really fun to see, again, like all these programs that are out there that we never knew about previously. And, it's wonderful to see so many people doing so many great things.
Yep. So could you tell the listening audience out there why you think it's so important for not only you but all others out there to help support these organizations that preserve and strengthen the human-animal bond?
That is a great question. I think when people are thinking about donating to animal-related causes, the first thing that comes to mind always is rescue. And, of course, I love rescue. I'm a proponent of rescue. But I do think there are so many programs out there that are not rescue, like we've talked about animal-assisted therapy, just as an example. Mm-hmm. But I would encourage people to think a little more broadly because rescue is amazing and it's very important, but these other programs are too. Yep. And so, I think just awareness around, like, the breadth of different animal-related causes there are out there. And that's part of the fun with us, right? Because our mission is the bond, supporting the bond. We can get involved in supporting so many different groups that do so many different things with it. And yeah, I would just encourage people maybe to research some of that as well before they decide where to give.
And that's a very true statement, because a lot of people do think about the rescues, the dog, the cat, the horse rescues and stuff like that. And they don't think about like these other organizations like Cantor, or even like Guide Dogs for the Blind, or, the Soldier's Best Friend, I'm trained the service dogs and stuff for. A lot of people, sometimes those are kind of out there, and they're not as forefront as the rescues, like you said. So,
right. It's interesting too how everything kind of ties together. Like, if a person, for example, learned about animal-assisted therapy and how meaningful that was, that might deepen their understanding of the human-animal bond, and then they might be more likely to go out and rescue a dog someday. It's like the more we all understand this, the more we will get involved naturally. And so, yeah, the more knowledge we have, the more we get involved. I think the more we naturally support in ways that maybe we wouldn't have before.
Yep. And I'm glad you said that about, what you just said about the rescues and stuff, because that kind of leads into my next question I was going to ask you about. And what role do rescue animals play in the broader story of healing and second chances, do you think?
I have heard so many stories from people who have had shared experience with an animal that was rescued. Like in a therapy setting, for example, people often hear the backstories of these animals, and it's incredible how there could be a herd of horses or a group of dogs or whatever, and there's just this intuitive thing that makes a person gravitate to one specific animal, and then they learn the backstory, and it's like, oh my gosh, they've both lived the same type of neglect or abuse or whatever the trauma is, and that's how healing happens often, because of that shared experience, feeling like they're not alone. So I know for many people that's very powerful when they enter these therapeutic programs, because they feel seen and understood by that animal without having to talk about it. It's this, again, it's the unspoken bond, the unspoken connection. And it's just incredible. It is.
Yeah. No, I agree. Again, going back to the service dogs, that's all we pull dogs from the shelters and rescues. Unless they, of course, have gotten their own dog and they bring into the program if it fits the criteria. But, we only use rescue and shelter animals, because we always like to say we're not just saving one life, we're saving two.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And again,
how do you assess when you're looking at dogs in the shelter, like which ones would be
good
for the program?
So, a couple different things, basically, is a dog that's going to go into a program like this obviously has to be okay with people, pretty much anybody. They have to be okay with other dogs. And they can't exhibit, you've got some dogs out there that a lot of people call Velcro dogs because they're very clingy, may have their own anxiety kind of things. So
I have one of those.
Yeah, and sometimes those probably don't make the best because they have to be more of a calmer, mellower, temperament. I mean, I have seen a dog or two here and there that was a little bit more, but not necessarily. It's just one of the things it's a flag we kind of look for to just see, how clingy are they kind of thing, is this going to work or not? And then they have to be between certain ages. We don't really have any certain breed or anything like that, but we normally would like them to be between 1 to 4 years of age. We can start, if they haven't had any kind of training, we can start the basic training, say, a little bit earlier than a year, as long as they're hitting around a year when they're going into the actual service dog training, because they're a little bit more mature. So those are just a couple of the things, though, that I don't go in and assess them so much as what the I guess my boss would, my supervisor would. So she kind of goes in and assesses them, and she's actually was able to even get a prison program started. And they're pulling dogs from the shelters, and they have the inmates in the prisons doing the basic training and stuff with them. So
yeah, that's becoming pretty popular now.
Yeah.
Those are popping up. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah. And of course, they also have to meet. I mean, it depends on what we're going to train the dog, what task we might be training the dog for. So, say if you have someone who needs help with their mobility, obviously you're not going to try to train like a Chihuahua or something for them, because they have to have help maybe getting up if they, get down, things like that, or if they need them to retrieve things for them. Small dogs can retrieve some things, but then you're gonna, you got to kind of be looking at weight. So, and then pretty much any dog can kind of fit the criteria of doing like any kind of deep pressure therapies or alerting and stuff like that. A lot of dogs are good. I'm actually, a couple of my teams right now, we're working on having their dogs alert them to their high blood pressure or their blood sugar dropping or spiking. So there's just a lot of things that you kind of look for when you're looking for these guys. But my boss has, like I said, she's done the assessments quite a bit more than me, so she knows a little bit more about it. But those are kind of the general basics of what we look for.
That's interesting. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, good temperaments. They obviously they have to have a good temperament, and they have to be almost like a horse. With the disabled riders, they almost have to be bomb-proof, because these dogs have to go into all these situations where we expose them to all sorts of stuff to get them used to it. We have kids play areas we go by. We're constantly walking. We have to, they're not supposed to be picking things up off of the ground, the floor and stuff like that, like any kind of food or anything else. So So there's a lot of different things and noises and stuff like that. They have to be, loud noises, because their handler might not be okay with loud noises. So that's when the dog has to step in to try to help the handler if a loud noise kind of freaks them out or scares them or something. So yeah. So there's a little bit. They have to have good temperaments, and like you said, for the horses, be bomb-proof kind of. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting process that they go through. But
interesting.
It's good though. I mean, it works out well, and we have a lot of good people and a lot of good dogs in our program. So I can't help it. One of my favorites is she's a Chug. She's a Chihuahua Pug mix, and she's just the cutest little thing, And it was funny because her handler had told me one of the things she kind of wanted. She doesn't like people to come up behind her, so she kind of wanted her to create a little space behind her, and I'm like, she's only like 10 pounds. she's kind of small to do a create space thing. You want a bigger dog if you're trying to do those kinds of tasks, because they can be there. People see them, She might be missed. So we went ahead and we did train her to do it, but it was funny when we were out working. She got her a little blinky light to put on her harness so people would see her. So yeah, it was great. So her dog's doing what she needs her to do, and she's got a little blinky light so people see her, and so it was great. But she's I gotta say, she's probably one of my favorites out of all the classes I've trained. She cracked me up when and she's just a little love. But yeah, so there's a lot of things. These different dogs, different things that they can do. So anyway, yeah. So it's fun. It's interesting. It's great to be able to. I did animal control for 12 years. So,
oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. So I've seen the worst side of people when it comes to animals. I have seen the worst side of people.
That is a tough job. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can honestly say out of 12 years, one case has given me nightmares for years. And it took me a while to get over it. And a friend of mine is talking about writing a book, and she was a co-officer with me at the time, and she wanted to include this story in her book, and so it's brought all of this back up for me. So it took me a long time to get past what happened, and so we were talking about it, and I just said, look, I can't. I can't share this story. At least not right now. Wow. And it's been years since it happened. It's been years since it happened. but it's still, even right now, I'm kind of tearing up thinking about it. But so, yeah, and that's another thing, it irritates me too. People don't understand, with animal control, they think animal control officers are horrible, but let me tell you what, you haven't seen horrible until you see some of the things people can do to animals. So,
1,000%. I know. I can't. Oh, gosh, it's so tough. But I just always tell myself that karma is real.
Yep.
And that is the only thing that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Well, like we want to believe that someday.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I can hope is someday, especially for that particular person, that they will get their karma. But now I'm doing what I'm doing with training the service dogs and stuff like that, and doing my own basic dog training. And so now I'm kind of on the other side of the line, you might say. And so now I get to see more of the good. I mean, there's good in the animal control side. Don't get me wrong. There's good. There is. There's a lot of good out there and a lot of good people. But and they make up in a way for some of the bad. But I'm so happy to be doing and giving back to our veterans and stuff like that too. That meant a bit to me. So I'm glad to be doing what I'm doing. Yeah. So yeah, that bond's definitely there for me with the with the animals. So let me see. Where are we at? Rescues. I know we're getting close to the end here. Oh, what can everyday people do to kind of help promote the well-being of both animals and the humans whose lives they touch?
I think the best thing people can do is just to be an example. Love your animals, live that bond. I think that people see that example, and especially from a young age. This is something I'm really passionate about. It's like children learning from a young age how to respect animals and know what that bond is, because they will grow into adults who treat animals better, and maybe with each generation things will get better. The shelter system will not be so overburdened and all of these terrible things. So yeah, I think just living that bond, teaching the younger generation, and also supporting, charitable programs to the extent that people are able to. That's really important as well.
Yep. That is definitely an important thing to do, is help support rescues and organizations that are doing good things for the animals and people. So,
for sure. Another thing I'll add is I feel like so many people want to give, but they feel like, I can only do a small amount. It's not going to make a difference. It absolutely makes a difference. These programs do such great work, but they all need funding. And if every person who could only give a small amount said, no, it's not enough, and they don't do it, that's having an impact, on these programs. And so I would just encourage people to, be generous to the extent that you can, but trust that even if it is a small amount, it does make a difference. Because if everybody did that, these programs would be in a different place. So, yeah, don't ever second guess that.
I mean, yeah, most definitely. If you give $1 and say 10 other people give $1, there's $11 right there that just got given, to the program. So you just never know what might help. So yeah, and even if it's not monetary, if you have, a group in your area, contact them. Ask them, could you guys use anything besides, say, money? Could you use food, help with food, or help with vet bills, or towels, blankets, whatever you guys might use there. And believe me, everybody's always willing to tell you what they could use and what would help them out. So don't be afraid to ask them. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Ask them what they need, and they will tell you, and then you can help them. So.
For sure. And volunteer hours is another big thing. If people have time, I mean, that's huge as well for these organizations.
Yep, exactly. In fact, I'm hoping at some point in time, if I get enough time, I'm going to try to go out and volunteer out at Cantor, because it just impressed me so much. And I'm so busy all the time that I can't find time to get out there. But I'm going to try to work on it a little more, and maybe I'll find some more time to get out there and help out and do some volunteering, because it is important. Volunteers are very important. They were important for me when I had my shelter. They would help walk dogs and get them out to socialize and exercise and stuff like that. So yeah, volunteers are a big help for a lot of things. So
for sure, yeah, and it gets addicting too, because you'll go to that program and then see how amazing it is, and you'll want to go more.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So what's next for the Human Animal Alliance and the Unspoken Bond project?
So, Unspoken Bond, we are embarking on a screening tour right now around the country. We premiered the film just a couple of months ago in Wellington, Florida. And so we have a South Florida screening tour coming up end of July into early August in the Florida Keys and South Florida. So it's Key West, Key Largo, and Fort Lauderdale. So we're very excited about that. And then from there, we'll be cherry-picking other cities to do theatrical releases there as well. So it's a whole process. I'm learning as we go, like how this all works. Ultimately, the goal is to have the film on a streaming service where anybody can see it, but there's a whole process that we have to navigate first. So if you're in South Florida and you would like to attend that screening tour, there's a website for the film. It's unspokenbondfilm.com. And we have all the ticket links and everything there. And we'll also be announcing future theatrical screenings on that site. So if people want to check that out, that would be amazing. And as far as the Human Animal Alliance goes, we're doing what we do. Our goal is to raise a little bit more and give a little bit more every year. And I'm really proud to say that despite the fact that we're a new organization, we just reached our first $500,000 in grants given out. So we're very proud of that.
Very nice.
And yeah, just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah. So if others out there listening would like to learn more about the Human Animal Alliance, where can they find you at, or how can they contact you or donate?
Yep, so that website is h-aa.org. And we also have Instagram handles for both organizations. The nonprofit is human_animal_alliance. And then the film is at Unspoken Bond Film.
Very cool. And I will put your links to your websites and stuff out on my podcast Facebook page as well, like I always do. Awesome. So if anybody's looking through there and they see you and they want to go check you out, they can. Awesome. Yeah. So, well, I think what you guys are doing is awesome. And I'm so glad that I got the chance to talk with you about the Human Animal Alliance and your new documentary. And I can't wait for it to come out, whether I can make it, if you ever make it out west here for a screening, if I can make it to that. But if not, I'll definitely keep my eye out on the streaming services for it to come out, because I really do think I'd like to watch that and hear about these stories that you guys filmed.
Awesome. If we come your way, you'll be my first phone call.
Definitely. Unfortunately, not too many screenings happen in my little neck of the woods. They usually end up Tucson, Phoenix, and stuff like that. And Tucson's about an hour drive, so it's not too bad. Phoenix is about 3 hours for me, but so. Yeah. But if I don't happen to be able to catch that, then most definitely once it hits the streaming service, I'll definitely be one of those watching it. So.
Amazing. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So, well, with that being said, we're pretty much done with our podcast tonight, and I am just going to announce the next upcoming podcast that I have. So you are welcome to stay on if you want to listen to those, but I know you're probably pretty busy, and you can always jump off and go take care of whatever you got left going on.
I would love to listen.
Okay. All right. So let me see here. Oh, August. Oh, well, maybe I don't have any podcasts set up for August yet. Oh, my goodness. I guess I don't. Well, actually, I probably will have one set up for August 6th. And unfortunately, I had to cancel my podcast last night because I was not feeling well. And there was just no way I could do it. So it was supposed to be about orca behavior with Monica. And so I need to get back a hold of her and reschedule. So that will probably be my next podcast on August 6th. And then I've got some feelers out for a couple other ones. I'm still waiting to hear back. I'm hoping I'll hear back. And I found this, there's this little prairie dog on Facebook named Poppy the Prairie Dog. She is so awesome. I just love watching those little reels with her, so I've contacted her family to see if they would be interested in being on and talking about Poppy. So, and what it's like to live life with a prairie dog. So,
I love that.
Yeah, I think that would be fun to have those guys come on and talk. So I've contacted them, and then, like I said, I've got a couple feelers. I'm trying to find out. There's someone out there that's been doing some research on FIP in felines, and Yeah, and there's actually a treatment out there, but it hasn't. I don't know how much of it's been approved by our FDA. And so a lot of people don't know about this treatment that's out there, that they could be treating their cats instead of having to euthanize them and stuff. So I'm hoping to get the research organization, someone from there, on with me to talk about that, because I think that people need to be made aware of that. So right now, that's kind of what I'm looking at for August. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have anything in writing for sure yet. But other than that, I'm always looking for new guests. If you guys know of anybody out there in the listening audience, let me know.
I could certainly make recommendations if you're in need of people. I think, do you have my email address?
I have been...
I don't think Laurie has it. I can, if you send me the names, Jackie, I'll be happy to send them along the information. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, there's a couple in particular that would be great interviews. So let me think about that, and we'll get you the names, Laurie.
Awesome. That would be great. And for those of you, that was Micaiah that jumped on. she's been the one that's coordinated this whole thing for me and Jackie today. So all right. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd appreciate you guys sending those along to me, and I'll contact them and see if I can get them scheduled in.
Perfect.
All right. Well, with that being said, thank you guys so much for being on tonight. And for all you listening out there, go check out Jackie's organization. And if you can help out. And if not, help out your own local organizations. And hopefully you guys will come back in a couple weeks here and listen in and see what that next podcast is about. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to reschedule my orcas to then. So, all right, everybody, you have a good night and stay safe out there. Bye now.